You're watching TelecomTV from the MEF annual members meeting in Boston. And I'm joined now by Shahar Steiff, who is AVP New Technology at PCCW Global. Shahar, good to speak to you again. Last time we spoke was about a year ago at the members meeting in Vancouver.
Correct.
A lot's happened in the market since then. What do you think have been the most significant developments in the services market in the last 12 months?
I think we're seeing the beginning of automation. Last year, we've seen attempts to automate, that it was like a direction that the industry was going to. Now we actually see that implemented. We really do see services being automated, probably more on an on-net basis rather than on an off-net basis, meaning carriers and service providers are offering automated services on their own network. We're still, I guess, a few months, maybe even years before being able to deliver that across multiple network NNIs.
So what has been the impact recently of software-defined networking?
We couldn't get that without software-defined networking. I mean, programmable networks, I would rather call it programmable network than software-defined network, meaning the ability to configure a network through software, which basically allows us to overcome the manual processes of configuring devices by hand through a CLI or whatever, and doing that through software. So you can write scripts, or you can use automation software to automate processes, to automate functions in the network. So basically, this is a prerequisite to be able to automate services.
And what would you say are the significant factors that affect your customers' buying decisions?
To be honest, first and foremost, it's always price. It was price and it will remain price. But being in a market where pricing becomes competitive anyway, the ability to deliver services dynamically and promptly is a factor, is a growing factor. So in the past it was price and coverage. Today it's price, coverage, and agility. Ability to offer services on demand with quick delivery, and also being able to deliver services for shorter periods. In the past, we used to deliver services for a minimum of 12 months. Today, we're able to offer services for hours, maybe even less than that. You could actually, even today, you're actually able to deliver a service for really just a few minutes of a conference call or some sort of a data burst, and then tear it off, tear it down, and that's it.
So are we also seeing an increased demand for cloud connectivity and cloud access services?
Certainly. I mean, everything moves to the cloud, of course. So currently, I would say currently, until today, cloud services were delivered same as connectivity services. You will deliver a cloud service for at least a 12-month period, fixed connectivity, pre-delivered, pre-configured, whether you use it or not, it's there. And today we're seeing again a shift for dynamic services. I guess that this is probably the driver for dynamic services, because since you're not using the cloud services all the time, you're only using it when you actually need the application to work, then it would make sense to be able to deliver dynamic connectivity, not only dynamic cloud service. So you can dynamically activate the VM, you can dynamically activate the application, then why wouldn't we also be able to dynamically activate the connectivity?
So what has PCCW Global been doing to meet this evolving customer demand?
This is a challenge for the entire industry, and many carriers are already delivering on-demand services, and so are we. We have basically launched, I would say we have practically launched a service about 2 months ago, which allows existing VPN customers, existing MPLS VPN customers, to add VMs of our cloud, of our own cloud and data centers, to add VMs into their VPNs. So they can run their existing services, their existing connectivity services. If they now need to add a VM, for now it's only a VM. After they activate the machine, they should load the application on top of the machine. But now they have the ability, Instead of buying their own machines and installing them on their own premises and connect them to the VM, they can dynamically, through a web portal, order a device. They can configure the number of CPUs, the amount of memory, amount of storage, and add a device into their VPN, and later on load their own application and make use of that VM. So this is available today. I mean, this is already a live service available for customers. Any existing customer should simply sign up to the web portal, and once they do, it works.
So how happy are you with the progress that's going on at the MEF as we drive towards these more agile third network services?
I think MEF plays a key role here because unlike other fora which typically handle a very specific element of the end-to-end solution, MEF seems to be one of the very few organizations that really has a real end-to-end perspective because we're dealing with the services themselves. Today it's connectivity, primarily Ethernet, but we're now moving into IP, we're moving into cloud, hopefully also into mobile services, so that's the service side. We're also dealing with the orchestration side, which means the orchestration framework. If you look at LSO, for example, which defines who are the players, what are the relations between the players, and we're also doing the process. And if you look at the process, the orchestration, and the service, those are basically three perspectives of the same thing. And if you map the process, the orchestration framework, and the service together, you can actually define any step in any service you deliver through well-defined specs. And I think MEF is probably one of the only organizations out there in the market that actually handles all three perspectives and not only one of them.
So final question for you then. When the industry reconvenes in November for the MEF 16 event, what are going to be some of the main talking points that we'll be discussing?
It seems to me like MEF 16 is going to be primarily around orchestration, and for a good reason. This is the current hot topic. And orchestration, again, is the driver for automation. You couldn't automate services without orchestrating them. I mean, you could avoid orchestration if you only automate a single element of a service, maybe the connectivity or the app. But today we want to be able to orchestrate the application and the connectivity and everything around it, possibly across multiple networks, all together, all in sync with each other, making sure that we deliver the same service end-to-end across multiple segments, multiple operational segments. That's where orchestration kicks in. And I think MEF 16 will likely be revolving around orchestration. We're going to hear that word a lot during those 3 days.
Excellent. Well, Shahar, until then, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.